We adore you, O Christ, and we praise thee, because by thy holy cross you have redeemed the world. It's Wednesday morning in Holy Week. Welcome again to our chapel here at Sacred Heart of Mary Church on Wolfe Island, where through these brief daily meditations we are able to remain spiritually united to pray together when we can't gather together in our church in this most unusual but still most sacred of all weeks. The theme of our meditations this week is taken from the 26th chapter of St. Matthew's Gospel. I will keep the Passover at your house. Words that the apostle said to the man whose home the Last Supper was to be held in. Now we had that reading, Matthew 26, on Palm Sunday, and it returns again today on Wednesday of Holy Week. I will keep the Passover at your house. We are on the threshold of the sacred Triduum, those 3 great days that begin tomorrow on Holy Thursday, the heart of our faith and the center of our liturgical year. And so we make that prayer more intensely now than we did a few days ago. Lord, come to our house. Keep the Passover with us at our house. We find in the Liturgy of the Hours, that's the book we call the Breviary, that book that priests say their daily prayers from. We find in there a reading on Monday of the 5th week of Lent, so about 10 days ago now. It's from St. John Fisher, the great courageous martyr bishop under King Henry VIII. He has a meditation about the sacrifice of Jesus that can help us in this unusual Holy Week. We are not able to gather. We are not able to gather together, but then we weren't able to be there at the first Holy Week. We weren't there in Jerusalem. We weren't in the upper room. We weren't there at Calvary at the foot of the cross. But St. John Fisher reminds us that our spiritual unity is still real, even though we are separated by time and distance from the events of that first Holy Week, just as we are separated by distance this Holy Week. This is what St. John Fisher says about that sacrifice of that first Good Friday, made present at that first Holy Thursday, what we're preparing to celebrate this Holy Week. This is what St. John Fisher says. That sacrifice is eternal. It is offered not only each year, but also each day for our consolation, and indeed at every hour and moment as well, so that we may have the strongest reason for comfort. That is why the apostle adds, he has secured an eternal redemption. That's true. As you know, we're not having public masses in these days, but I celebrate Mass here every day for the parish. That sacrifice is real, and it gives us, as St. John Fisher says, the strongest reason for comfort. St. John Fisher continues, all who have embarked on true contrition and penance for the sins they have committed and are firmly resolved not to commit sins again in the future, but to persevere constantly in that pursuit of virtues that they have already begun, all of these become sharers in this holy and eternal sacrifice. St. John Fisher is reminding us that when we do penance for our sins, when we commit ourselves to grow in virtue, we are united to that one sacrifice almost as if we could say we were there on the way of the cross through the streets of Jerusalem that first Holy Week. Now, today, we're not able to gather in the church for these sacred mysteries. But if we are contrite for our sins, if we are resolute in our pursuit of virtue, then listen again to what St. John Fisher says. We become sharers in this holy and eternal sacrifice. So this week, while we are not together physically, while we are separated from each other by distance, while we are at home, we are still sharers in this holy and eternal sacrifice by contrition for our sins and pursuit of virtue. That is, as St. John Fisher says, a genuine reason for comfort. I will keep the Passover at your house. Praised be Jesus Christ, now and forever.